She was still sleeping with this man after Hannah was born.
Yes, I was. Because we decided that we wasn't going to be together. Been on and off for 5 years.
The guy, he just slept with her 2 weeks ago. My bed. She didn't go to his house. She didn't go to a hotel. It was the bed that we shared.
She leave the house every time. It's always when a private car come or it's after 3 a.m. That's the only time he able to get away from his wife, so-called.
What?
It was that's it.
How are you getting up at 3 a.m. and leaving the house?
So there was no trust. I didn't trust him, he didn't trust me.
I get that you all were in a bad place in your relationship, but what does trust have to do with you playing Wonder Woman and jumping out the window?
This case kicks off wild. Mr. Patrick says he might not be the dad of Ms. Pence's twins because she cheated with a guy who crashed at their place. Ms. Pence insists Mr. Patrick is the dad and the DNA will prove it. Drama, confusion, and awkwardness await.
Mr. Patrick, you say 5 years ago you made a huge mistake by opening your doors to a stranger who needed a place to stay because that man betrayed you and slept with your girlfriend, Ms. Pence. Today, you're here to prove that you didn't father Pence's fraternal twins, 4-year-olds Larry and Carrie, and the other man did.
Mr. Patrick explains how they let a random guy stay over, but he left suddenly. Soon after, Ms. Pence disappeared and came back the next day looking like a mess, then confessed she slept with the guy. The whole situation, peak drama.
Well, he stayed maybe 5 or 6 days, and he up and moved out. And I questioned her, I said, wonder why he just didn't left. Is it because me and you argue a lot? You know, time goes on, me and her sat around and had a few drinks, and she up and leaves and goes across the street to the neighbor. 10:30 runs around, 2, 3 o'clock comes around in the morning. Still no Miss Pence. Well, she doesn't show up until the next day, about 10:30 in the morning.
Ms. Pence says she cheated because Mr. Patrick kept accusing her of it. She regrets it, but things are messy, especially since she actually went looking for the guy afterward. This excuse has "worst mistake of my life" written all over it.
Larry had continuously, from day one, accused me of cheating constantly. I had never slept with anyone else before that night.
You're so flirtatious.
I was that's how I was brought up. I'm constantly calling people honey and babe.
What did I tell you?
I'm from the South. That's how I was raised. It has nothing to do with that. I never slept with anyone before that.
Ms. Pence pulls out a calendar to prove the twins' conception lines up with Mr. Patrick, not the other guy. Mr. Patrick's not buying it, and her timeline doesn't help. It's an awkward back and forth that drags the kids into the mess.
On November 2nd, Your Honor, is the date that me and Mr. Patrick had sex, and then on August 7th is the date that the twins were born.
That don't mean that. That's a 5-day window.
It does. The doctor had said that the twins were conceived right around the 2nd of November. The twins were born almost completely full term, and if you count those dates back, it only leads to Mr. Patrick.
Mr. Patrick doubts Larry is his because the kid's rambunctious and might have ADHD. He claims it doesn't run in his family, but a psychiatrist explains ADHD is complicated. Spoiler alert, Mr. Patrick isn't convinced.
I think he's ADHD or something like that. You know what I mean? He doesn't listen, he's rambunctious.
He's a little boy.
I understand
Mr.
he's
Patrick.
a little boy, and I hope he grows out of it someday, but I believe he's ADHD or
There's
something.
nothing wrong with
Larry.
And so,
Doesn't run in my family.
How do you
doesn't
know
run in
that
her-
doesn't
Well,
run
I've
in your
been with
family?
you for 10 years, honey.
It doesn't matter. You don't know every single thing about your family history.
Living together hasn't been fun. Constant fighting and no intimacy for months. Ms. Pence hopes the DNA test will end the drama and bring some peace. But before that, there's a lie detector test that throws a wrench in the plan.
We haven't even had sex in probably the past 4 months. It's just a constant argument from the time that I get up until the time that I go to bed, pretty much. It's constant argument.
and so that's why, Mr. Patrick, you asked this court for a lie detector test because you don't believe Ms. Pence is being truthful with you as to the true nature of the relationship with this other gentleman.
No.
Lie detector time, and Ms. Pence gets caught lying about the number of times she cheated. Mr. Patrick's like, I knew it, while Ms. Pence blames nerves. This doesn't make things easier before the DNA results drop.
Ms. Pence, you met with a licensed polygraph examiner. During the last 10 years of your relationship with Mr. Patrick, have you had sexual contact with any other man other than the man whom you admitted to cheating with? You said no. The lie detector determined you were being deceptive.
How is that?
Big moment.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Patrick, you are the father.
I told you that you was the father. I told you.
Right from the start, there's drama. Judge Lake introduces Ms. Hendricks, who says Mr. Pacheco bailed on their relationship because he doubts he's baby Isaiah's dad. Mr. Pacheco heard someone else might be the father, and now he's unsure. Trust me, this gets crazier by the second. Buckle up.
Ms. Hendricks, you were once in a committed relationship with the defendant, Mr. Pacheco. Now you say the doubts about your 6-month-old son Isaiah's paternity has destroyed your relationship, torn the rest of your family apart.
Yes, Your Honor.
They fall in love, move in within within months, and then Ms. Hendricks' brother starts a rumor that her ex might be the father. She insists it's not true, but the drama's just getting started. Mr. Pacheco isn't buying it and adds his own doubts into the mix.
Well, he's listening to rumors that an ex-boyfriend is possibly the father of our son. The rumors are coming from my brother, which is with him. We met online. About 3 months after talking online, we met in person. We moved in together, each other. It was like love at first sight. Like, I think we both fell in love over the telephone before we even met.
Mr. Pacheco overheard her family talking about another man being Isaiah's dad. Yikes. This planted serious doubts, and he's wondering if he's raising someone else's kid. But just when things seem clear, Ms. Hendricks fights back to defend herself.
Before the ex situation, I heard her over talking on the phone with a family member. The family member was kept telling her, your ex wants me to tell you to tell the baby before I go to jail, please keep in contact with me. Yeah, that's what started giving me more doubt. After getting more doubts about the situation, Mr. Hendricks here that's inside of me, you know, he started to, one day we all went out.
No, that's not true.
Mr. Pacheco left Ms. Hendricks at 7 months pregnant due to the rumors. She was alone and struggling. He showed up for the birth, cutting the umbilical cord and all. Just as it seemed they might reconcile, a missing birth certificate signature stirred things up again.
He thought that he was possibly not the father. And then we got past that. Like, he left me when I was 7 months pregnant. The whole pregnancy, the rest of my pregnancy, I was by myself on, which was very depressing. He wanted to be in a delivery room. He came to the hospital with me. I didn't see him since I was 7 months into he's seen the baby be born, and he cut the umbilical cord and everything.
But then after that, a family member of hers says, oh, that's the mailman's baby.
No.
Mr. Pacheco claims he was kicked out of the hospital before signing the birth certificate after a petty argument. Now, no one's happy. His name's missing, and it's a mess. And it only gets more awkward as Ms. Hendricks' brother takes the stand.
When I got kicked out, I tried to sign the birth certificate. If you see, his name is Isaiah Hendricks, it's not Isaiah Pacheco.
Wasn't there.
But every time I called you and I told you for us to make an appointment, you never wanted to do it. You always had excuses for everything. You had excuses for everything.
It's not something I could just call and be like, oh, I want to change his name.
Look how.
So your intention the day you were in the hospital was to sign that birth certificate.
Yes.
The brother drops a bomb, claiming he saw another guy's stuff in the house, suggesting overlapping relationships. Ms. Hendricks denies it, but her brother doubles down, making everyone gasp. Now, Mr. Pacheco takes the stage, pouring out his heart.
Well, when we was all living together at the beginning of their relationship, I was living with my sister. I had noticed coming back and forth from work that there was this other man kind of hanging out. But one morning when I was leaving for work, I had noticed that this man's belongings was on the living room floor. I had caused some suspicion.
But that was different time. He came after that.
It was together.
No, it was not. Wrong. It was totally different time.
Mr. Pacheco gets emotional, saying he loves Isaiah and hates how the rumors have messed him up. He didn't grow up with a dad and doesn't want Isaiah to face the same, despite his doubts. All of this builds up to the main event, the DNA test results.
What my son is going through right now, I go through that with my dad because my dad is, denying me and my older sister. I was never raised with a mom, or the one that raised me all my life was my grandmother. She gave me everything, you know what I'm saying? And I want the same thing for him. I want him to have me and her in his life. If I didn't love her, I wouldn't even be here right now.
Mr. Pacheco, you are his father.
Mr. Williams enters confidently, saying he just knows Quenisha is his daughter, despite Ms. Wynn being very clear she disagrees. He claims it's a deep gut feeling from 35 years ago, but Ms. Wynn insists she already knows who the father is, and it's not him. Mr. Williams says the newborn Quenisha looked like him. Everyone's wondering why he's so sure when Ms. Wynn's so against it.
Mr. Williams, from the moment you saw Quenisha Mayberry, you believe that she is your biological daughter, even though the defendant claimed you are not. You hope today's results prove what you have known for 35 years.
Mr. Williams says Quenisha looks like him and that he just knows. Their relationship sounds casual, but Ms. Wynn denies remembering any romantic involvement. She admits to walking by his shop often to catch his attention, but still doesn't think he's the dad. Somehow, even though he took care of Quenisha as a baby, she insists it means nothing.
It was the first time I saw her. She looked like me, fair skin, and I just knew she was my daughter. When she, about a week after she was born. Well, she's fair skinned, I was fair skinned, her mom is dark, and the other guy, he's darker.
That's not a lot of criteria.
No, but I just felt it in my heart.
And most babies are very pale when they're born.
Well, I just felt it in my heart that she was mine.
Mr. Williams shows an old photo of him and Quenisha, hoping it proves their bond, but Ms. Wynn dismisses it and says he should have taken a DNA test years ago. Quenisha adds that she never felt the man on her birth certificate was her real dad, feeling disconnected from him. The tension keeps rising, and we're still nowhere closer to the truth.
So this is a photo of you and Quenisha.
Yes.
You took that together many, many years ago. She has to be, what, 3 or 4?
I don't remember how old she was, but yeah, that's one of the photos.
Well, Your Honor, he should have tested her when he had her when she was over his house like that. When she was 3 years old, he should have tested her. Why wait 35 years to do this?
Mr. Williams found Quenisha on social media and started connecting, but hearing about her childhood reveals how much was missing. Quenisha shares that she was teased for not having a dad, feeling alone without anyone to turn to. Now, she wants to know the truth, not just for herself, but for her kids, hoping to fill the void she's always felt.
And I was just trolling Facebook and social media, and I saw one of her family members, and I was just going on each one of them until I saw a post on it that said Cali reppin' Baby, and I punched on it, and it was Quenisha, and that's when I reached out to her, and I asked her to ask a family member who I am.
And then I asked about like if he could be my father, and a family member was like, yeah, possibly.
DNA results reveal that
it has been determined by this court. Mr. Williams, you are not the father.
this courtroom drama kicks off with Mr. Thomas asking for a DNA test, unsure if he's the father of 15-month-old Hannah. He's already paying child support after signing the birth certificate under questionable circumstances, while Ms. Zachary insists he's the dad. Sparks start flying right away.
Mr. Thomas, you claim you've been petitioning the court system for a DNA test for 15-month-old Hannah Thomas for more than a year now. Now, you've been notified that you will be paying support because you signed the birth certificate, but claim it was under false pretenses.
Mr. Thomas expected a check in the mail, but instead found out half his paycheck would go to child support. Ms. Zachary says he knew this because of government assistance rules, sparking an argument. Just as you think they might settle down, things get messier with the pregnancy timeline.
2 weeks ago, Your Honor, I went to the mailbox thinking I'm getting a check, and unluckily, I end up getting a paper from child support saying that half my wage is going to be taken.
I don't mean to cut him off, but that is a lie, what he's saying. He knew that he was going to pay child support because I received a medical card. I also received cash assistance. I have to cooperate with child support in order to receive those assistance.
Mr. Thomas initially supported Ms. Zachary's pregnancy, but grew suspicious when the timeline didn't add up. Ms. Zachary revealed she was pregnant with twins, though sadly, one didn't survive. The courtroom then dives into what happened during their break.
Kaya was separated towards July, maybe for a couple weeks. August, we got back together, towards the end of September, she told me I feel pregnant. And we went to buy like maybe 4 or 5 pregnancy tests.
I went to that doctor's appointment and I came home. I handed him the papers. This is my results at the doctor. This is my proof of pregnancy.
No, Your Honor, I never received any paperwork, Your Honor.
Ms. Zachary admits seeing someone else during their break, which fuels Mr. Thomas's doubts about being the father. She insists she was honest when they reunited, but they argue about what counts as a break. Things get awkward fast, especially with their agreement at the hospital.
I had been on a break for over a month and a half when I was with the other guy in July.
Your Honor.
We got back together the end of July, beginning of August.
Kaya's a dirty fighter, Your Honor. We've been together almost 6 years.
Child.
Break for us is I'm leaving out the house, I'm going to go to my parents' house for a while, or you leave and you go with your mom or something like that.
No, that's not a break.
And we're always back together within a month time.
Mr. Thomas signed the birth certificate under an agreement to step up if the real dad stayed away. As time passed, his doubts grew, and their family secret plan unraveled. The tension heats up again when the story shifts to what happened after Hannah's birth.
She had her sister come get the children. I came up to the hospital. I was with her the whole night, all until she had the baby. I was there. It was no problem. If he didn't have any part, I would sign a birth certificate and Hannah would never know a thing. Nobody would never know a thing. This would be the biggest family secret that we ever had. And I had no problem with that because I'm not going to let just someone come in and destroy my family. Like, it just don't.
You destroyed your family.
It just don't leave that
he
easy.
destroyed his family.
Mr. Thomas accuses Ms. Zachary of seeing the other guy even after Hannah was born, with evidence like contacts labeled Hannah's dad. Ms. Zachary doesn't deny it, causing gasps throughout the courtroom. Then a surprise witness steps in with more revelations.
She was still sleeping with this man after Hannah was born.
Yes, I was. Because we decided that we wasn't going to be together. Been on and off for 5 years.
The guy, he just slept with her 2 weeks ago. My bed. She didn't go to his house. She didn't go to a hotel. It was the bed that we shared.
Mr. Hill, Mr. Thomas's uncle, claims Ms. Zachary once showed him a photo of Hannah's supposed father. He kept it to himself to avoid involvement. Ms. Zachary says she only brought it up because Mr. Thomas already suspected something.
I don't think that he is the father of Hannah.
You don't?
And the reason why is because she just don't look like him. And another reason ever, because I just didn't want no parts of it. I didn't want to get into it. She has shown me pictures of who she really thought was the baby's dad.
Mr. Thomas, in tears, shares his love for Hannah and the other kids, even if she isn't his. Mrs. Zachary admits her mistakes and hopes for confirmation so they can move forward. Emotions are high as they await the DNA results.
I've been okay with saying maybe she's mine, maybe she's not, but maybe she's mine, I've been okay with that, When I find out these results, it's gonna be like 99.999. Like, it's nothing, and I don't know what that'll do to me because I love this girl just like she's mine.
Mr. Thomas, you are her father.
Buckle up, this is one messy ride. Ms. Haddle is trying to prove Mr. Andrews is the dad of her baby, Amarella. Mr. Andrews, calling her a serial cheater, denies it. Judge Lake points out their 8-year drama-filled relationship. And trust me, it's about to get messier.
Ms. Haddle, after 8 years off and on with the defendant, the two of you called it quits just 3 months ago because he denies your 1-year-old daughter, Amarella. Now, you want to prove to him that he is her biological father.
Ms. Haddle says they got back together and even planned Amarella. Mr. Andrews doubts it, claiming she mentioned 2 other possible dads. He also argues the baby doesn't look like their other kid. It's real-life soap opera drama, and they're about to bring out text receipts.
We have had a rough road throughout these 7.5 years. 9 months into our relationship, impregnated another female while he was living with me. Started our relationship back. I had planned on having another child with him, so I did get pregnant. Amarella came, and I think the doubts came because she looks than our other child.
Mr. Andrews shares texts from another guy to prove Ms. Haddle's infidelity. No cookie recipes here. Ms. Haddle shrugs it off, while Mr. Andrews is like, see? And just when you think it's over, the infamous 3 a.m. window jump story enters.
Same person who I see this text message from is the same guy who she was having an affair with all along from the whole get-go. So when I seen that text message, my whole thought process was, I let you have it any time, and now you chicken, you're scared to come over.
I can't tell you word for word. It was
I know
sexual.
word for word.
I bet he does know word for word, but I don't. So I'm not going to disagree, but anyhow.
Ms. Haddle admits she jumped out of a window at 3 a.m. because Mr. Andrews locked the door. He says she was sneaking out to meet her married boyfriend. Ms. Haddle says she needed comfort. Super shady, right? The madness continues with the birth drama.
She leave the house every time. It's always when a private car come, or it's after 3 a.m. That's the only time he able to get away from his wife, so-called.
What?
That's it.
How are you getting up at 3 a.m. and leaving the house?
So there was no trust. I didn't trust him. He didn't trust.
I get that you all were in a bad place in your relationship, but what does trust have to do with you playing Wonder Woman and jumping out the window?
While pregnant, Ms. Haddle found out another woman was also having Mr. Andrews' baby. Despite the chaos, he was there for Amarella's birth, his first time seeing one of his kids born. Sweet, but the drama doesn't end as they bring up affairs during her pregnancy.
8 months pregnant, I find out there's another female pregnant in the same town that we're living in. He was there, got to see this first child born out of whatever 6 or 7 children that he does have. This is the first child that he got to see born, so that was very special. Me as well, having him there. He was there the whole pregnancy, you know, took care, rubbed my back with the kids, helped keep the house clean, you know, whatnot, but mentally he wasn't a good.
Mr. Andrews claims Ms. Haddle got flirty texts from other guys while pregnant. She denies cheating, but he insists he has proof. The eye rolls are palpable, and just when you think it can't get wilder, it's time for the DNA test.
You want to tell the guy not to call back? I'm right to tell him.
I can have friends, and it's not a
private call.
Like I said, there was only one person that I had
I couldn't have no
for
friends.
comfort and security, and he did have friends. He had tons of friends.
Why do you need friends when you're having babies everywhere? You already have another baby. You're not denying you getting text messages. You didn't deny. You admitted in court today that you were looking for comfort and security.
The DNA results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Andrew, you are the father.
Ms. Morris wants a DNA test to prove Mr. Byram is the father of their baby, Jackson. They already have 2 kids, and she thinks this test could save their family. Meanwhile, Mr. Byram is ready to leave if the test says otherwise.
Ms. Morris, you've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that the defendant is the father of your 1-month-old son, Jackson. You hope these results will save your family because you have 2 other kids together.
Mr. Byram claims this is Ms. Morris's 2nd time cheating, and he's got proof. Turns out she was with his close friend, who he found hiding in her grandma's attic. Just when it couldn't get wilder, Ms. Morris shares her own side.
Mr. Byram, you say the plaintiff admitted to sleeping with another man, and when the results prove you are not Jackson's father, you plan to leave for good.
Yes, I do.
So, Mr. Byram, there's a lot at stake today, am I correct?
Our whole relationship is based on this paternity test right here.
Ms. Morris admits to cheating, explaining they were technically split up for a month. She was living at home, and he was down the street with another woman. It's a messy reality TV-like situation, with drama heating up.
Technically, we split up for a month, and he was living down the street at his friend's, and he was dating a different girl, and I was staying in the house with the guy, the other potential father.
The only reason I left is because you cheated on me. Period, the end.
Well, you shouldn't treat me like crap, and you've always accused me.
Now, we're piecing together the timeline. Ms. Morris was with the other guy on September 25th, and Mr. Byram on September 27th. He isn't buying the 1-month breakup excuse and insists it was more like 4 months. The timeline confusion is far from over.
And when did you sleep with him?
September 27th.
You could have slept with him the same day.
I slept with him on September 25th. That's why we're here today for the result.
Oh, so you slept with the other guy September 25th. You admit you slept with his friend and him with within 2 days.
Yeah, sure.
It wasn't just that one time she's saying. She was sleeping with him every day.
Ms. Morris admits to sending baby pictures to the other guy's mom, who wanted updates on her maybe grandchild. Mr. Byram is visibly frustrated. The awkwardness in the courtroom just keeps rising.
She's still talking to his mom about it.
No.
Sending his mom pictures of the baby, trying to tell me that it's my kid.
His mother, the other guys, does turn out to be her sons that she wanted to be in his life. So when the baby was first born, I sent her pictures of the baby because she was asking me about how much he weighed and all that. So not an everyday thing. It only happened twice.
Mr. Byram explains he's trying to care for the baby, but emotionally, he's distant till the paternity is confirmed. Ms. Morris is upset by his hesitation. The tension is palpable as they await the results.
You treat Jackson differently?
Yes, he does. He shows my other two way more attention than he shows him.
Do you blame me?
So you do admit you're having a hard time bonding with Jackson because you don't know?
I still buy him toys and do whatever for him, but I keep my distance from him because I don't know if he's my son.
Sometimes he'll act like a dad to him, and then sometimes he won't.
Mr. Byram admits it's hard to connect with Jackson without knowing for sure if he's the father. He's trying to be present, but struggles with the uncertainty. Everyone is anxiously waiting for the DNA results.
I held the baby first.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I did not.
You did not?
No. I just kept looking at him and thinking about what she did to me, and I can't do it, you know? I can't treat him the same as my other kids because I know for a fact that those other babies are mine, and I love them to death. I just can't love him full on, love him until I know that he is my flesh and blood. I just can't. Never.
The results are in.
It has been determined by Mr. Byram. You are the father.
Yes. Yes.